Hello everyone, welcome into my craft space. We are zoomed in on my desk today, and I was playing the other day. I love these Tim Holtz little torn labels, and I kind of had a Tim moment. I said to myself, wouldn't it be great if these came in different colors? Because while I love these, I don't always want to put black, white, or red in my books. So I was thinking maybe we'll try to make some of our own. Now I wasn't making them necessarily to save money or because I couldn't find these. I do love these, but I was making them because I want some other colors, and I thought maybe my friends here on YouTube might want some other colors and inspiration as well. So let's take a look at what we can create. So the first thing you need to do is look at some material or whatever substrate you want to work on. Now these ones, it looks like they worked mostly on some canvas, and I don't really have scraps of canvas, but I do have some other materials that I thought might be fun to play with. So I have some ribbon. We are pretty zoomed in today. I'm going to zoom out here in just a minute. I have some fabric, and this is just a cotton fabric, some printed fabric, some thinner ribbon, and some burlap. And honestly, after playing with these for a while, the burlap was really my favorite. I have 3 different colors or shades of burlap, and all of them look really, really great. So let me zoom out and show you the ones I've already created, and then we'll create one together. Maybe 2, because they're just so much fun. All right, we'll zoom out just a little bit. You can see my messy desk. All right, so there's the ones by Tim Holtz. Here's all my little substrates. You also need some embroidery thread or maybe some thinner yarn or string, or even baker's twine might work. So here's them that I created. This one is on fabric, and you can see I just left the edges really rough, and this is a very light purple. So these are perfect for spring or any of your fun lighter things that you might want to put a little label on. This was just a torn little scrap, and I put a couple of little stitches in there. So these are perfect if you, there's one creator that I watch on Facebook, and she calls it doodling with thread, but it is perfect if you just like to do some slow stitching or some embroidery, whatever you like to call it. Here's one on ribbon. So it's just a little scrap of ribbon. So this is a great way to use up some of the scraps from the substrates or fabrics or mediums that you are using in your crafting here. This one just has some X's in it. I love it with this blue on this darker burlap. So great. Here's some with that light lavender again, just some little X's. I think I really enjoyed doing the X's. This one I just did a little running stitch and then did some little crosses in it. Not really crosses, I don't know, they're just little, they almost remind me of like a Frankenstein scar. And then this one again is those little X's. I loved doing the X's. So let's make one together, and you'll see just how quick and easy these come together. This is going to be a short video today, but just something very fun that you can do with your scraps of whatever it is that you have. So this is just a leftover piece of fabric and a leftover piece of ribbon. But again, my favorite one to work with was this piece of burlap. So all you need to do is just cut a little piece. If you've never played with burlap before, it does try to unravel, but that is some of its charm as well. So you just literally need a little piece, and if you start taking out some of the lines, the next line will come off, and the next line will come off, and before you know it, you're left with nothing. So don't do that. Just be really careful, and you'll be okay. Your embroidery floss has 6 strands in there, I believe, and that's why it's all nice and wound up like this. But you can divide it, but for this, I just wanted it to look as dark as it could, so I just simply left it the way that it is. Now I use a really big-eyed needle because I am visually impaired, and it really helps me to try to thread a needle. You can use a needle threader if you would like to. You do kind of want a needle with a point at the end, so tapestry needle might not be the best because it won't allow you to pierce the substrate as well. So let's get this out of here. There we go. So you can see here, my needle does have a nice point on it, and it has a nice big eye, so I can thread this floss through there, hopefully. And you can just use your scraps of thread as well, because you're just going to make a couple of little stitches. You can make them as big or as short as you would like to. Oh, come on. Now some people put a little bit of hot glue on the edge of their thread to try to keep it all together and make a nice little point. I never seem to have great luck doing that. I'm just gonna try to get it together here. Maybe that's why I abandoned this thread. I don't know, maybe I couldn't get it all in there. All right, well, we're gonna take whatever goes through. No, we're not. Oh my gosh, what a mess. Okay, so that one obviously needs to be divided. Let's just get a different color. So this is my little tin of embroidery flosses. I love seeing all the colors. Let's try maybe one of this blue. This is kind of like a sky blue or something, I don't know. No, I'm not a left-hander. I don't know why I'm trying to do that with my left hand. I'm so sorry. This is painful to watch, I'm sure. Blind lady trying to thread a needle. Oh boy. Oh my goodness, why is it not working? Let's just snip this off and try again. It's not a very good threading day, apparently. Oh, I think I've almost got it. There we go. I think we might have missed a strand or two, but I'm not going to let that stop me. I'm just going to scooch it down there because we just need a little bit. I think this color is going to look great on our burlap, our fabric, and our ribbon, so we're just going to go for it. Now I don't make a knot or anything when I first start because typically I'm going to glue these down to paper. So I just pierce in here. And the burlap is great because it has a little grid, so you can kind of see where you're going if you're making your X's. Whoops, don't let your thread come undone on your needle or you're back to square one. Here we go. And then we'll go back here and do our little X. And put it through. And I have been doing about 3 of these little X's, and I think they're just so cute. So I'll skip a couple of rows. And they don't have to be perfect or straight. The ones from Tim Holtz are all wonky. I think those ones are machine stitched. So if you have a sewing machine, you can definitely do some little stitches too if you are that efficient. I don't know if I'm that efficient with my sewing machine to sew on these little tiny pieces. Maybe they sewed them on bigger pieces and cut them apart. I'm not sure. But this is working for me. I just wanted some cute little scraps of label-like something in some different colors. So Tim, if you're watching, bring back these labels and do them in some different colors. So this is fun, but I think it would be great just to have some of those in a rainbow of colors, especially with your new line you just released. Okay, so then when you get to 3, you can tie this in the back if you want to. Or like I said, I plan to glue it to paper, so it's going to be all sealed, but you don't want your stitches to come out. We just put them in there. So we'll just give it a little tie. Now, if you are a slow stitcher or somebody who really enjoys doing embroidery, excuse my painful stitches, but I do get the job done here for what I'm doing. But you can really make some beautiful pieces to put onto your junk journals and ephemera. So if you like to slow stitch, or you want to try some fun cross-stitching patterns or something like that, try it on some burlap, try it on some fabric, try it on some little ribbon scraps, and glue them right on in, or even stitch them right on in to some of the pages of your journals. Okay, so I'm just making a little knot back there so my thread doesn't come out. And then you can leave these strings if you like them, or you can snip them off. There we go, and I've got it onto the spool, so we'll go ahead and snip that off as well. I'm gonna leave that one just a little bit. Now you could put a little piece of tape or washi tape back here, or a little blob of hot glue, just to make sure that it stays until you go ahead and use it. But I don't think anything's going to happen to mine because I'm just going to put it into the tin with my other ones. So let's go ahead and do a little stitch on this ribbon. Now the ribbon is just a tiny little piece, and you don't have to do much stitching on there. Let's see if I can get this threaded again. There we go. I like using the variegated floss as well. Oh, there just went my whole spool. Good job. You can also leave this doubled like this, and then it will make a darker stitch, so you'll have twice the thread in there. But for the ribbon, I don't like to do that. I'm just going to make, this one was really hard to try. I thought it would be easy just making some little back and forth, but I'm not really very good at a lot of stitches, but kind of inspired by like these ones. These are just back and forth stitches. So, see, here's one with the 3 X's that they did. Their X's are a little tighter than mine, maybe a little thicker too, but I think it's still cute. All right, so let's just put some stitches on this one. Now, if you want your stitches all connected together, I think it's called a running stitch. Just go ahead and pierce like this. And then you're gonna come right back up inside your thread. And stitch down again. And depending on the size of the piece of your ribbon or fabric or whatever it is that you are stitching on, you only need to do like 3 or 4 little stitches. And this is something you can easily mass make. Not because you want to make a whole bunch of journals or anything, but because then when you're journaling, you won't have to keep making these. You can just make a bunch of them with whatever scraps that you have, and then they will be cute to go into a journal. So let's see if I have a book in progress here. And so this one, it could easily be added to a tab. It could easily be added to a page. It could be added to, this one doesn't have any clusters or anything in here yet, but you could easily make a little cluster out of it. You could even make a little pocket out of there if you had a really tiny tag. So these are very fun, even if you just put a couple of little stitches on there. Let's do the one on fabric real quick, and then we will call it done. So you can see I've made a lot of the little X ones. I loved those. Those were really easy and really fun to do. And they just take a few minutes, and just take a little scrap of whatever it is you are sewing them on. Now you could also get a little fancier. You could add some beads in between the stitches here. Okay, so this one's just a little fabric scrap. I think we all have some fabric scraps. Let's make some X's on here. That one I think is my favorite. So we'll just go, I'm gonna pull our thread through as much as we're gonna need here, and just make an X. Now there's no grid on this one like we had on the burlap, but you can make them, I seem to be not in the center. I'm over on the side of the fabric, but that's okay. And then we'll just go back here and keep making our X's. And over over here, and you can make them big, you can make them small, you can make them in multiple colors. That variegated floss is really cool, and by variegated I mean multicolor like this. And it comes in an array of colors, so you can really have fun with all of the colors. So for whatever reason, if you don't have Tim Holtz labels, or you don't have Tim Holtz labels in the colors that you'd like, you can definitely make your own Tim Holtz inspired little stitching pieces to put on your projects. So I hope this has inspired you to break out your embroidery floss and your little scraps of fabric, ribbon, burlap, whatever it is that you have, and try your hand at making some of these little fun labels, whatever colors that you choose and whatever substrate that you have scraps of. And I think they're just so great. This one, you can see I just made one little X there, but it almost looks like a little flower bud. We could put a little French knot there, or a brad, or even an eyelet, and just clip this on, and it was just the tiniest little scrap. So save those scraps, put them to use, make some little labels, and have a great time. If you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate if you give it a big thumbs up, like, subscribe, comment down below what colors you would like to make. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.